Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Jared, and today I'm going to be talking to you about fibromyalgia and natural remedies for fibromyalgia. So first off, fibromyalgia is painful. There's no denying that. In fact, in order to qualify as having fibromyalgia, you have to have pain in 11 of 18 very predefined areas of the body. Um, Now, how is it diagnosed? Nobody exactly knows how or why fibromyalgia comes on, but it is characterized by widespread pain. Now, some doctors diagnose fibromyalgia by testing these 18 trigger points, and if there's enough pain and inflammation in the body, then they'll diagnose that person as having fibromyalgia. Some doctors run fibromyalgia tests, such as the FM/A test, which has been shown to not necessarily be the most valid test. But what I found in my experience with the patients that I have is that it's mostly a diagnosis of exclusion. So once the doctor rules out every other type of condition that you might have, they come down to fibromyalgia. So, like I say, as a healthcare practitioner, I've had a lot of patients who suffer from fibromyalgia. For some of my patients, the pain is so bad that it wakes them up in the middle of the night when they toss and turn. It affects them at their job. It affects them when they're at home with their families, just being a good spouse or a good parent or, whatever the case may be. This pain can truly be debilitating. Now, with that being said, some experts do believe that fibromyalgia is overdiagnosed, and, you know, I tend to be in that group too, while at the same time acknowledging that those who suffer from fibromyalgia are experiencing some real pain and they seriously need some help. But on the other hand, too, where fibromyalgia is diagnosis diagnosis of exclusion, seems like a lot of patients are just lumped in there because the doctors simply don't know what to do to help the patient. So what we're going to talk about today is ways that you can decrease your symptoms of fibromyalgia. So watch what you eat and watch your symptoms decrease. We're going to talk about some of the good foods that you should eat, some of the bad foods that you should avoid, and some nutrients that you should think about taking. Okay, so eating a diet of foods along the list of the Food Smart guidelines, which if you go to my website, thesmartlivinglife.com, I talk a lot about the three pillars of healthy living: food smarts, brain smarts, and body smarts. And the basic idea behind these pillars is that health can really be predicated on maintaining a proper balance in getting the proper nutrients and avoiding the foods that are harmful for you. Okay, so if you go to my website, you can check out more about that. But ultimately, following these types of guidelines is going to help the sufferer of fibromyalgia with their symptoms. So let's talk about the good foods here. So green vegetables. The greener the better. So you're thinking about your romaine, your spinach, anything along those lines. Because these foods are rich in antioxidants, which help alleviate the chronic pain. The antioxidants are pivotal for getting rid of free radicals that can cause inflammation in the body. The next thing is protein. So preferably clean protein, and you want to have some lean protein too. But the reason why protein is so important is that it helps the muscles stay strong by supplying them the nutrients that they need. Now the next one is probiotics. Now, I'm a big believer in probiotics because with the diet that most of us eat, the bacteria in our gut is not what it should be. And when you supplement with probiotics, that in of itself is going to help combat inflammation, but it's also going to combat this candida right here, which according to some papers has been hypothesized as being a leading cause of fibromyalgia. And then finally, we're going to talk about omega-3s here. So omega-3s help reduce inflammation. Anybody who has fibromyalgia knows that 11 of those 18 points or more is inflamed. So when you take omega-3s, that's going to help decrease the inflammation. Now let's talk about the bad foods. So number one is gluten. Gluten is very pro-inflammatory and can make fibromyalgia much worse. Sugar falls in the same category. It's also very pro-inflammatory. You're also going to want to avoid food with additives, things like aspartame, MSG, and high fructose corn syrup. Now, this is a personal thing for me as well, but these food additives make fibromyalgia worse, but they also are slowly killing you at the same time. And additives like MSG and aspartame are excitotoxins, and what an excitotoxin does is it goes into the cells of the body and it literally stimulates them, which is why it's called an excitotoxin, and it overstimulates them to the point where they're either seriously damaged or they die off. And this includes brain cells. So those are important things to avoid. Now let's talk about nutrients that are essential to combat fibromyalgia. So fish oils, those give you the omega-3s that your body needs to fight inflammation. Now you could also, if you're eating a healthy diet of fish or some of the herbs that are high in omega-3s, that's fine. But you want to make sure you're getting enough omega-3s. Next, you're going to want to take vitamin D3. Vitamin D3, there's been an association between fibromyalgia sufferers and those who have a lack of vitamin D3. So getting the vitamin D3 that your body needs is going to be crucial to decreasing your symptoms of fibromyalgia. And when you talk about vitamin D3, you also have to talk about vitamin K2, because when vitamin D3 goes into the body, it requires a lot of enzymes and proteins that are activated by vitamin K2. So if you don't have sufficient levels of K2 in your body, then D3 is not going to be able to do its job properly. Now the next thing is magnesium. So this mineral helps muscles relax. And again, it's kind of anti-inflammatory, but what it does is it goes into the muscles and just helps them relax some. Now the last thing, and I know that this isn't a nutrient per se, but it's exercise. There's been so many studies done that have shown that exercise reduces the symptoms of fibromyalgia. Now if you go all crazy and you start exercising like, you're training for the Olympics, that might exacerbate the feelings of the fibromyalgia. But even if you just get a little bit of exercise, even if it's just going for a walk, even if it's just lifting a little bit of weights, that's really going to help. So again, those are things that you can do to help combat the fibromyalgia. So we've talked about the good foods that you should eat, the bad foods that you should avoid, and the nutrients that you should supplement with. And again, my name is Dr. Jared, and my website is smartlivinglife.com. And thank you for watching this presentation.